This is The Heat Source, the podcast where we learn everything we can about hot sauce, one bottle at a time. We are your hosts, Mike and Matt, and today we're trying Cilantro Onion Hot Sauce from Butterfly Bakery of Vermont and Brian Boru's Curry Hot Sauce from Craic Sauce. Let's heat up. Welcome back to The Heat Source, where we learn about new sauces weekly, one bottle at a time. This week, we are trying two more sauces from familiar brands. One, we haven't tried a sauce in a while, Craic Sauce, from the East Coast, first introduced to them at the Boston Hot Sauce Show in their inaugural season. And then Butterfly Bakery of Vermont's Cilantro Onion, which was the second most recommended sauce of their collection when I asked the For the Love of Hot Sauce group. But also, even though it's not within theme of what we're trying here, this episode is coming out on the biggest bar night of the year, the day before Thanksgiving.
Coming out on.
Yeah.
I'm like, you like to jump the gun. You like to get a day ahead before the bars get actually crowded.
Yeah, I like to go to the bar the day before. It's when everyone's just like gearing up. Everyone's a little bit on edge. I just like to be a nice customer. And they're like, well, thank you. I'm like, well, just remember this nice moment tomorrow when loads of drunken people are there. And
that's funny. I've never participated in that.
I did like a decade ago, maybe. I don't know the last time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like going out to the bar on a normal night out. It just seems exhausting. Even I had a great time in Nashville, but going downtown Nashville, I sent a video to Angela of me just like spanning the streets of Nashville, and she's like, pass. And I'm like, yeah. It's a lot. I'm like, I don't know. So we're going a different direction. We're just releasing an episode with two really good sauces, really good brands. Butterfly Bakery of Vermont, we just tried their sauce from them only a few weeks ago. Claire from Butterfly Bakery of Vermont. She also sent some granola and some other those caramels that did not last. And then Craic Sauce, that's one that we've gone through, I think, most of their staple lineup, and this is the last of their staple set. They have specialty and limited release sauces. One of them is one of your favorites, the Fiddlehead. So I'm excited to get to try these. But before we get into that, we have to play the game that I'm starting to pick up some steam. I thought I was going to run out of steam quick on this because it's not really a game. It's just more of a challenge. It's more a challenge to me to think of these. You know, you can try to guess them, but the intention is more for me. Can I think of more analogies? Because it's fun. And if there's any hot sauce makers or hot sauce fans that enjoy the NBA or have followed the NBA at any time, it's, a fun way to blend those two together. But I'm going to list a player, and then once I talk about that NBA player, then I'm going to talk about the hot sauce comparative brand. So this one, I don't know if you're familiar. I'm sure you might be. Jerry West. Jerry West.
I know Adam West.
Adam West, great, iconic. One of the best Batmans to ever have bat repellent or shark repellent in his utility belt. But
what's even more sad about that is I know he has something to do with Batman back in the day.
Mm-hmm. You think of Family Guy?
I would have only known him from Family Guy.
Yeah, that's fair. They one of the funny jokes was, I think it was the Batman the movie, the Adam West movie. He had spray that was shark repellent, and it was just like this really. I mean, it was really campy. It was a different type of thing from what the dark movies are now, but they actually inserted that into one of the comic books. I saw like just a 1-page of that, and so. Yeah, it was pretty funny that they went back to the campiness and brought it back, but not Adam West, Jerry West. So Jerry West, some of the nicknames for Jerry West: Mr. Clutch, Zeke from Cabin Creek Comet, Tweety Bird, Mr. Outside, and the most iconic one that I knew off the bat was the logo, because the NBA logo is actually a silhouette of Jerry West. So there's a fun fact for you, but. Jerry West was one of the first great. Oh yeah, Jerry West was one of the first great NBA players. He was the only player to ever win the NBA Finals MVP on the losing team. So even though his team lost, he was deemed the most valuable player of that series. So you see him literally everywhere. You see him in the logo.
He's the only one to do that?
Yeah, he's the only one to ever accomplish that. Some have come close. There's been fun debates on if someone's warranted to have earned that, but no one's ever done it other than Jerry West. But then, so you see him on the logo. He's been instrumental in assembling teams in the front office. He was a part of the decision to trade for Kobe Bryant on draft night for the Los Angeles Lakers. Even though he passed in recent history, you really cannot talk about the NBA without acknowledging his long effects on the history of the game. It's really hard to look in the history of the NBA and not see that. So that is the player that I have a hot sauce comparison for. I feel like this one's not going to be as difficult as some of the other ones.
The more you say that, the more pressure it puts on me.
Mm-hmm. It's so easy.
The more I overthink it.
I will say Jerry West was a player that played in the 60s. So this is like early beginnings of the NBA.
Makes me want to say Tabasco.
I mean, it's up to you.
I already said Frank's.
Yeah, Frank's was one of them. Frank's was already said. Yep.
Screw this one up, but I'm going to go Tabasco.
It is Tabasco.
Rock on. Nice.
Yeah. So when you Google hot sauce, when you look up, especially when I do like different designs on Canva and things like that, shout out to Canva, not a sponsor. When you Google it, you get the silhouette or the iconic Tabasco, the red cap, it always looks like a Tabasco bottle. Like even though there's no official logo for the hot sauce world, Tabasco is kind of the bottle that you think of, and it's in diners everywhere across America. So even if you try to if you're like, well, I do my own thing, it's like every diner has a caddy with Tabasco. Most recipes over the years, especially early on in like the 30s, 40s, 50s, the recipe didn't say splash of hot sauce. It said 2 dashes of Tabasco. So like it was ingrained in that early beginning of the hot sauce world. And then while today's era of hot sauce has become much more diverse, if you have to talk about the history of sauce, you cannot do it without acknowledging Tabasco. So yeah.
Do you notice what happened with a Cheez-Its box?
With the Cheez-Its box?
The hot and spicy Cheez-Its.
No.
It used to be the bottle of Tabasco on there.
Oh, okay.
And now it is a bottle of Tabasco that just says hot sauce on it.
Oh.
Like I don't know if I don't know if they strayed far enough away from the recipe where it's like not Tabasco anymore, but they used to be Tabasco. Now it just says hot sauce on there. But they kept the same bottle shape.
Yeah, Tabasco for me, I've never was a huge fan. Like I would use it if that was what I had, but it was really more just to get a little bit of a different flavor and mix it into like my eggs at a diner or whatever. Never was like my favorite of the OG hot sauces.
I loved it. It was always a treat for us. Like we would have.
Well, you like the green Tabasco. That was the one you said you liked.
Yeah, we would always have Frank's. I mean, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, so it's like we just went with the basics of everything. And dude, we felt like high rollers when we would have Tabasco, and then every once in a while, my parents would buy the green bottle. We're like, Mom and Dad must have got paid today.
I was listening to an episode of Flavor Balance Heat where they had, and you're going to be jealous on this one, they had Andrew Zinnerman on.
Yeah, Zimmerman.
Yeah. So they had him on as a guest, and he was talking about Tabasco, and it's a...
Wait, Flavor Balance Heat did?
Yeah.
Had the chef?
Yeah.
No.
I literally listened to it today. It was a 2-part episode. I only listened to part 1 so far.
No, they didn't.
Yep, they did. This isn't a joke. This is a real thing. I listened to it today on my drive. But he was talking about Tabasco, and now he says that he thinks this is a true story. He cannot confirm it fully, but he wants it to be true. And I've read a few different spots where Tabasco denies it, but also does like a little wink nudge. But when after Tabasco first was around, there was a first wave of like newer hot sauces a few decades in, like 40s, 50s, somewhere in there, where they were losing some of their capital on the hot sauce world, even though they had recipes that included it in there, even though they had, diners, every diner had it. And so they sent a guy to go to the factory, look through everything, look through, what they're doing, talk to different people and do this research, and then deliver back how they can help get some of the piece of the pie of hot sauce back. The guy was there for a day, didn't talk to anybody, just was in the facility, went back to this, the marketing team that he was a part of, and they're like, what are you doing back here? He's like, oh yeah, I went down there and then I got you the information you needed. It's like, where? It's like, it's on your desk. And it was just a Post-it note that said double the size of the hole on the bottle. And so then by doubling the size of the hole, every time a recipe says 2 dashes of Tabasco, you just doubled your usage. And so now their Tabasco bottles didn't last as long and they had to buy them sooner. And that one little change increased at least for a period of time until the next boom of hot sauce increased their profits. Now, again, folklore, I did not find anything saying, yes, this actually is what happened, but I thought that was funny. So I'm like, I'm going to do Tabasco for the comparison. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think, and maybe they'll talk about in the second part of the episode, I've been trying to catch up on Flavor Balance Heat. I'm terribly behind on it, but I think he was doing some collaboration with Spike of Irish Spike's hot sauce. And so that's kind of the connection. And then they got him on. So
gotcha. That's cool.
It was also funny
watching that guy's video.
Yeah, it was also funny because he was describing all of these different foods, and Zach was just dying because he couldn't eat that stuff at the time, and he was just like, "You are killing me." He's like, "I would listen to this all day, any other time." He's like, "But you are killing me with some of these descriptions of prime rib and different chicken wings, of how to char the chicken wings and then coat them in the sauce." And he's just like, "Please stop." But it was a really good first part.
Did you ever watch his show, Bizarre Foods?
A little bit. It wasn't my go-to one, but I definitely watched some, here and there.
So, I mean, he literally eat anything and everything. Mm-hmm. There was nothing that wasn't on that guy's menu. I think it's jackfruit. Out of everything he's ever eaten. Yeah. Eyeballs, brains, buttholes, all that stuff. You I think it's jackfruit in front of him, and he's just like, I can't do this. I can't, and I don't want to do this.
What would be the reason not to eat jackfruit? Is it just a texture thing?
It might not be. What's the big green, the big giant green thing, the size of a basketball?
Yeah, it's a jackfruit, because then it's supposed to be a substitute for pulled pork.
Oh, it might not be that. Oh, durian.
Oh yeah, durian's nasty. Fruit. I have not tried it. I've not tried it, but I've seen plenty of YouTube videos of people eating durian, and it is a strong smelling.
It makes me want to try it.
If we ever do a YouTube episode, I think that's a good one for you to try durian.
We should do that one day. Let's get a durian fruit on it. We'll both try it live.
I think the only other thing that I've heard of that's more potent is the canned. What's the canned thing? It's Gewürztraminer from Germany.
Never heard of that.
It's terrible. Good Mythical Morning is the show that they've tried all this stuff. I'll send you a clip so you can see their reaction. And they do that for a living. They try crazy stuff for a living. So just so you get an idea of what to prepare for.
This says, if you've smelled durian even once, you probably remember it. Even with the husk intact, the notorious Asian fruit has such a potent stench that it's banned on the Singapore Rapid Mass Transit. Food writer Richard Sterling has written, its odor is best described as turpentine and onions garnished with a gym sock.
Nice.
It can be smelled from yards away. I can't say I've ever smelled turpentine. I like onions.
You've dealt with gym socks before.
There was over 100 guys on my football team, so I know what a gym sock smells like.
Yeah. I don't know about that one.
I'd give it a shot. just to experience how bad it is. When people are like, "Oh, this is awful, try it." It's one of those things where it's you can't not do it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if it's available, I'm gonna want to try it just to say that I've tried it. I don't know how well that's gonna go, but I would agree with that.
Yeah, we'll do it at your house. That's fine. We'll do it at your place.
Yeah, I'll have to be outside, well lit or well ventilated, fans going at the same time. But we're gonna get into our first sauce of the day, the cilantro onion from Butterfly Bakery, Vermont. I believe this is the sauce that Zach from High Desert Sauce from the Flavor Balance Heat podcast says is, if not the only, one of the few cilantro sauces he will try because he is not a fan of cilantro.
Cilantro averse.
So this one on the bottle, it says cilantro onion is our use it everywhere hot sauce. This is the one that is thrown liberally over your morning eggs, spices up your favorite bean dip, sorry, Mike, and rarely makes it back into the fridge. Vermont's best peppers spice up every batch. You know, you don't have to do bean dip.
My durian fruit is beans. You could put me on Bizarre Foods. I'd eat everything on there. I would do whatever I'd have to do with that durian fruit. If you put beans in front of me, be like, get me out of this country right now.
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that you guys like it. I'm not doing it.
If there was a video challenge where it's like, all right, we're going to show you the reaction to these 4 foods, and then you have to guess which food this person ate for each scenario, everyone would be like, oh, well, this one's got to be the durian. It's like, no, that was a single navy bean. A single navy bean.
You know how it like takes a lot for people to like yell and jump when they're scared?
Yeah.
Like if you ever seen the videos of like when people put cucumbers behind cats and the cats freak out when they turn around and see it? Like you could put a bean next to me and I'll like jump yell if I see it.
I'm always amazed by the things that either frighten or gross you out, because based on just like your outdoor, more outdoorsy attitude and, hunting and fishing and all that, I would have been like, oh no, all that stuff doesn't faze him. Like that'd be fine. And it's like, well, except for a bean or a spider, a bean spider. You ever see Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? What if there was a spider made of beans?
I saw a video today. It was a cartoon, but it was, what if when you saw spiders, they laughed like Seth Rogen when they ran away? And it was just cartoon spiders, but my God, it was so disturbing.
That would be funny. All right, I'm going to go through
just like that really deep.
Yeah, he's got a very iconic laugh, which I don't know. I wonder if he's a fan of how iconic his laugh has become, but I don't think he really cares. Ingredients: Dog River Farm green jalapenos, organic distilled white vinegar, Full Moon Farm onions, Honeyfield Farm cilantro, and salt. So limited ingredients, a lot of locally sourced. They get all their produce within 200 miles of their facility, so they keep things as local as they can. Let's give this a smell.
It smells amazing.
Yeah, that smells like just a classic, like a great green sauce. I'm already thinking tacos, nachos, burritos, with the cilantro. I just made a Mexican chicken, Mexican chicken soup that you top with cilantro. This seems like a good topper for that, but let's give it a try.
Got a good zing to it.
Good zing.
That's hotter than what I thought it was going to be.
I mean, it's a simple ingredient list, so the jalapenos do get to shine in this, because even though you've got that acidity of the vinegar, the jalapeno heat is there. The onion, cilantro, salt is really kind of on the back burner, which I like, because it's not, you get someone that doesn't like cilantro that can enjoy this sauce because it's more accenting the jalapeno and that acidity of the vinegar. And we like, acidic sauces. We're if it's high in vinegar, that's not a negative for us. But this is one, breakfast burrito, eggs in the morning, throw it on tacos, throw it on, your chicken chili, your soup, your, in a bowl with a tortilla chip.
That is a textbook tortilla chip sauce.
Yeah, throw this in a bowl with a side bowl of chips. Put it to me on a table and say, hey, your food will be right out. I'm just going to down this and then forget that I ordered anything after.
Yep. Man, that is clean.
So here's an interesting question.
Yeah.
We're eating this sauce the day before, or 2 days before Thanksgiving. So the episode will come out tomorrow, but 2 days before Thanksgiving, what would be the best Thanksgiving dish you could get away with putting this on? Because cilantro is an interesting herb, but it's not strong in this.
I would go...
I mean, I'm fine putting it on everything. It's just, I could put it on turkey. Yeah. You can put it on turkey. And
I'm trying to think. I started with what I wouldn't put it on. I would think the turkey for sure.
Yeah.
But I would say stuffing.
Stuffing was another good one.
Yeah. My mom makes this killer, like one of those things where it's like a death row meal for me. It's like my mom's Thanksgiving stuff and like a spicy sausage. I'd put it on there.
Yeah, stuffing would be really good. If anyone did like any like biscuit or cornbread or anything like that as a side, it would go really good, I think, on that. So the thing that my son Mason has decided that we're bringing rainbow Jello, so that won't go great with this, but I would give it a try.
Did you see that map that's going around? And it has states, and it's a map of the United States, and they're all highlighted in different colors. And it's a map of what the most Googled food is over like the last 2 weeks.
No.
And it's like what's like the most
for Thanksgiving,
how to make
like Thanksgiving ones.
Michigan was Jello.
I mean, I know so. Jello isn't really like a thing where I'm like, oh, who's bringing the Jello? Like, honestly, the only reason I'm bringing Jello is because Mason wanted to make it a few weeks ago, and he's like, we're bringing it. And I always wait till the last minute to be like, all right, what's the gap in the meal? Because everyone says, oh, I'll bring this, I'll bring that. Everyone has their signature, like, we always have one person that makes the green bean casserole, one person makes the German potato salad. My dad makes the kielbasa and sauerkraut. And so I'm like, what's the gap that I can fill in? Is it in an appetizer? Is it in a side dish, a dessert? And there really wasn't one, so we did Jello. But yeah, it's weird that Jello is the Michigan one. Maybe here's a twist. It's because Michigan just doesn't make a lot of Jello any other time of the year. So they're like, what do you make how do you make this Jello thing? So
I don't understand that one. Do what the box says.
Well, but if I'm doing layers, so I'm doing a rainbow of flavors divided by a white layer that is gelatin with sweetened condensed milk. So there's like a sweet, so it's like almost like when you do like peaches and cream, like a fruit and a cream.
Yeah.
I'm alternating cream with fruit. So
interesting.
Yeah. It's going to take me 17 hours tomorrow for each layer to solidify before I move to the next layer.
You got to let each one cure and set up?
Yeah, making a sugar lasagna. So, a sugar pride lasagna. Rainbow fruit flavors, and just layers upon layers. So,
are you doing the rainbow just to make a statement piece for some family members, or just happens to be you want all those?
No, Mason I did a Google search of like Jello, Jello desserts, and there was the first one was like rainbow layers, and he's like, that one, and Ren's like, yes. And I'm just like, it's gonna take. Funny. I think it's like 30 minutes every layer to set, and so if I'm doing I'm doing 6 colors plus 6 or 5 layers in between of the white, so I'm at 11. So you're talking about 5.5, 6 hours.
Huh?
But it's like you do one layer, you set it in the fridge, and you go do something for 30 minutes.
Yeah. I was going to say for this year, second to, I'd say the Native Americans and the European settlers, this is probably going to be the second most tense Thanksgiving. Just like with the past election a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's got to be up there with one of the ones where families are just like, you know what, we're just going to skip Thanksgiving this year.
Yeah.
Because your uncle.
So here's the good thing. Is the Lions are playing, and so in our house, the Lions game will be on, and as long as the game doesn't get out of hand, really only if it gets out of hand where the Lions are losing, which has happened over the last like 6 years, as long as that doesn't happen, the Lions game is going to be the focus until the food is the focus. And also we do a smaller one on Thanksgiving where it won't be the issue. We have a Christmas one in a couple weeks that I think it'll be fine, but it is always, after every political season, I'm always curious, like, how's this going to go? More so just, are my kids going to suddenly ask, what's this word mean? And it's like, oh, God. Like, okay, cool. So this sauce, even though it's green jalapeno, it's spicier than you'd think for jalapeno, but it's not a long burn. Like, it's still relatively...
It's a quick spike.
Yeah. So I put it in like, on our 2 out of 5, that's where like there's a presence of heat, but you're not reacting. You're not, sweating or anything like that.
Yep.
What was your fun fact for this sauce?
What do you think I did?
I want to say that you went into like the butterfly or Vermont element instead of the actual ingredients.
I did butterflies again.
Nice.
I know I hit you with a monarch a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So here in Michigan, people don't know this. We've actually got a lot of species that are like very endangered. And Michigan is a stronghold for a handful of species. The Carner blue butterfly is one of them. They're really neat, really iridescent blue on the inside of their wings. The outside of their wings are like this really cool silver with orange dots on them. This will have to be a photo without context. But I thought it was really neat in their larval stage, when they're caterpillars, they have a gland on the back above their butt.
Okay.
And they secrete like a sugary substance out of this little gland on their butt.
Okay.
And it's literally ant food. So what they do is they secrete this. The ants follow these caterpillars around. And the reason they do that is because the caterpillar or the ants offer protection. So there's like this symbiotic relationship where the caterpillar's like, hey, I'll give you food. I'll give you sugary food. You protect me from parasites and animals. Because a lot of these, they feed on, it's called wild lupin. I'm sure if there's any like hardcore gardeners out there, they're familiar with what wild lupin looks like. It's really neat. That's what the larval stage eats. It grows in these oak savannas. And in these oak savannas, it's really common to have these big fire ant mounds.
Yeah.
Or not fire ant, but these big red ant mounds.
Okay.
So yeah, they poop out that ant food. Ants follow them around, and it significantly increases their chances of survival. Where these caterpillars are just hanging out with ants, and these ants protect them, which I thought was just amazing.
Yeah, it's always fascinating to me though, some of those symbiotic relationships. I know that Mason was obsessed with like the underwater sea life, and there was like the ones where there was fish that would clean the teeth of the larger like sharks, or I don't think it was whales. I think it was sharks, where they would clean the teeth, and then it's like, oh yeah, this just works. It's like, you're not going to eat me, but like, no, you're cleaning my teeth. You can do your thing, bud. So that is fun to see, the symbiotic relationship in that. So that's a good one. I mean, I feel like butterfly facts, every butterfly bakery one, you could pull another butterfly fact, because there's a lot out there.
That's what I will be doing till I run out of butterflies.
Fair. Totally fair.
Or sauceless, one of the two.
So what do you think I went in what direction on this one? Because it's not a lot of ingredients.
There's not. I think you went with, because we know people who are cilantro adverse that like this sauce, I think you went into more science behind cilantro.
I didn't. I thought about it, but then I found something on the other side, on the onion side, that I was like, okay, I'm going to go with this. So did you know that during ancient Olympic Games in Greece, we're talking ancient Greece, we're talking...
like competing naked Greece?
Yep, competing naked Greece. Nice. That's a weird sentence to say. The onion was used extensively to prepare athletes for the grueling athletic competition. They would consume pounds of onions leading up to the games. They also drank onion juice and rubbed onions on their bodies in an effort to warm their muscles.
Just feel the burn.
Well, so they said ancient Greek physician Pedanius Dioscorides, I'm going to butcher that. They said who recommended this was onto something, because onions today are known for their powers to increase circulation to the body.
That's interesting. So I'm thinking, like, if you were to just take a white onion and just take a bite out of it, like that'd be decently uncomfortable. If you just raw dogged an onion like that today.
Yeah.
Not so much heat, more so like the fumes. Like those onions are pretty potent. We've heavily modified things.
Right.
I would love to know what kind of onions they were smearing all over their bodies and just slamming like during that time. Like, were these a little bit domesticated? Were these undomesticated?
Yeah.
Were they as much milder than they are? Like,
that could be. I know that I did read another thing that said that onions were one of the first that was eaten even in like the early, age of man, before even like crops and farming. Like, onions were a wild thing that they would consume. So stands to reason that it might not have been like super modified from what it originally was. So it probably could have been milder, and maybe they were, getting them when they were a little more green, like they weren't fully ripened. So maybe they weren't as potent then. Maybe it was like more of a milder, mild
I'd love
situation.
to know what that's like, because I'm just thinking like when I played football or baseball, you kind of get like the nerves, you get like the burps and stuff like that, or
I mean, I never really competed in many sports other than track and field, but I understand. Yeah, I've seen movies.
Yeah, like I'm just trying to think of like a real foggy onion burp.
Oof.
When you're getting lined up for kickoff, of like, oh god, now my eyes are burning, got this taste in my mouth, threw up a little bit. Like,
imagine
the last thing I'd want is just straight up onion.
Imagine a wrestler, you've got him in a headlock, you're like, I'm gonna win this, and he just like lets out a grunt of onion juice into the air, and then you're just trying to hold back.
You just get in one of those positions where he just rips an onion fart.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's probably part of their strategy back in the day.
And it doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
doesn't hurt. Covered in onion juice. So you're like this guy's slippery. Like, what is that? Like, it's onions.
He's slippery. My freaking eyes are burning.
When I do the half marathon with Angela next year, like right before the race starts, I'm like, hold on, I got to prep, and then I'm just gonna pull out an onion, bite it, and then squeeze the juice into my mouth, and then rub it over my face, and be like, let's do this.
The quicker I get this race over, the quicker I can wash this out of my eyes.
Yeah. Just like, what are you doing? But like, just prepping, man. Just prepping.
You should do that. Just as you're getting ready, just cut an onion open or pull one out of your pocket and just start rubbing it all over and be like, no. The Grecians did this back in the day.
Or instead of holding out water cups, they're just holding out onions. Just like, anybody? I got a red, I got a Spanish, I got a sweet, I got a Vidalia. What would be your preferred onion to use for preparing for athletic competition?
Oh, I'd have to go sweet.
Yeah, like a Vidalia onion.
Yeah, I'm not going red or white where I'm just fogging myself out.
I'd get myself a little bag of shallots. Just be eating little shallots.
Really?
Yeah.
To me, that's like onion and garlic had a love child.
I love garlic. So
which is wonderful, but again, like, you really want to be huffing and puffing where you're just breathing out.
I want to make sure when I'm running that the C's part where I'm running, we're like, get out of the way, this guy stinks, and be like, thank you. Let's move along. I'm just going to be like listening to music, scream singing the whole way, and they're just like, oh, this guy, get him out of here.
Pretty hot out there today, isn't it?
Yeah. So that would be my strategy. I'm excited to use this sauce. I'm going to make eggs in the morning just so I can make little breakfast tacos and throw these on there. I got a little left over.
We split the bottle. Mine's almost gone already. I've just been drinking it out of my bottle.
So we did do that. We actually split it as even as we've ever split it, and now I'm like, this isn't enough. But
you've been shorting me.
Yes.
That's what's been going on. So a challenge for all you listeners, take a 5-ounce bottle of hot sauce, pour out what you think is half, and then actually weigh it out.
You ever see the YouTube videos where they have like carpenters or different, people that work with tools and tape measures, and it's like, all right, pull the tape measure out to like 4 inches or 6 inches or 8 inches, and they just pull out the tape measure without looking at the number, and then that's where it is. That's kind of the thing with this. The challenge would be pour out sauce until you think you get to like an even spot, and see if you can find the middle point.
You're going to be so far off because you and I were scratching our heads up like that can't be right.
Either that or we're just not as bright on this stuff. We're veterans of the splitting a bottle perfectly in half. I mean, I've been benefiting, so I've been okay with it. So
I saw a video of bull riders. So they took a pool of general population. They said, count to 8 out loud. And let us know when you think you're at 8.
Mm-hmm.
And people were off by like many seconds just counting to 8. Then they took professional bull riders. They said, count to 8. Every one of these professional bull riders counting in their head was able to get it to like 100th of a second.
Nice. Yeah, it's just if it's something that you deal with on a more day-to-day basis, it's muscle memory. That's why like people in survey, like they can pace out, hundreds and hundreds of feet and just be like, yeah, here we are. This is where we're going to be. So again, on this sauce, again, Butterfly Bakery of Vermont, their website, butterflybakeryvt.com. Same thing for Instagram, butterflybakeryvt. This sauce is incredible. It's a green sauce that I like how they said it's an everything sauce because it is your everything green sauce. Eggs, tacos, nachos, my go-to nachos, loaded. I would honestly, I would throw this on like a loaded mac and cheese. I think that would be good.
Oh yeah.
This one though, I had a 2 out of 5 on a heat
potatoes.
on cheesy potatoes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to put cilantro on a lot of things. Like I'd throw this in a salad. Like I've thrown cilantro in with like my lettuce and mix in the greens. I would throw this into a nice salad. I think that would be good too because you get a little onion in there too. But on this one, I had the score an 83 out of 100.
I had a 90.
Nice. Yeah, it's an incredible sauce. It's anything above 75 is like one of our hallmark. You know, we would keep those sauces year round. This is a classic green sauce. There's very few sauces in the green category that I would put above this for like an everyday use. So this is an incredible sauce. It's a great job. And again, they collaborated with Dog River Farms and Honeyfield Farms, 2 local farms, for the ingredients on this. So this is an incredible one. So well done on this one. We have a few more of theirs that we're going to get into. Hopefully, I don't know if we'll get into it before the end of the year, but definitely in the next few months here, we're going to start sprinkling in more of their sauces because clearly there's a lot going on there that we enjoy.
Yep.
So let's get into some Craic Sauce. So again, Craic Sauce. This is Craic Sauce, CRAIC sauce.com, CRAIC sauce for Instagram. So again, Craic is it's an Irish term, if I remember correctly, which means like a good time. If somebody says, what would be the way to use it? He loves the Craic, the late nights. It was a great Craic, and I look forward to it this year again. So like, it's a gathering. It's a social activity. I know it's weird, but
I had some buddies in college where I'm like, yeah, they'd come up and be like, man, that was a great Craic.
Yeah. Let's look at the bottle here. So again, this is the Brian Boru's Curry Craft Hot Sauce. So on this one, it says, Brian Boru, the last High King of Ireland, died during the Battle of Clontarf, the same location where Craic Sauce began 1,000 years later. Fit for the High King himself, this turmeric-enriched curry sauce brings rich, powerful flavors from fermenting local farm-sourced produce. Our passion for creating flavorful hot sauces was developed while living in Ireland. Craic, pronounced crack, is an Irish word for epic times and laughs with friends. Use our sauce to make sure every day is filled with a bit of crack. So there you go. Ingredients on this: chili peppers, including Hungarian hot wax, Scotch bonnet, apple cider vinegar, water, sun gold tomatoes, coconut milk, shallots, carrots, garlic, ginger, turmeric, galangal, salt, brown sugar, lemongrass, and spices. So this is one I know that I've tried this one before because my parents had a bottle that they're currently working their way through, but I never actually had a lot of it myself. But I tasted it in Boston 2 years ago, so let's see how memorable. It's got a nice golden color. It's a very smooth sauce. The smell, I smell that coconut. Amazing. Smell that lemon, the lemongrass.
Definitely get curry.
Yeah. Let's give it a try.
I think that lemongrass.
Yeah. Let's give it a try.
Ooh. That's really good.
So after our episode last week where we talked about galangal, I feel like I'm getting some of that when they also do ginger and galangal. So two very different items, but similar flavors, just the variations from the same thing. That lemongrass I get. Yeah, the coconut milk, you can taste that. It's not overly hot.
No. I get a lot of lemongrass out of that.
Yeah.
I do this recipe. It's like a coconut curry fish with lemongrass.
Mm-hmm.
And Oh, this would be an awesome topper. Pretty much any like to me for this one with that little bit of like lemongrass citrus flavor with that curry in there.
Yeah.
Any like blackened or like baked fish.
Okay.
To me, this just screams like a white fleshed fish, not so much like a salmon, but like a white fish. Oh man, that's really good. Like on a better rice or coconut rice.
Yeah, I like how smooth it is with the coconut. I think that coconut milk is really what's giving its smooth consistency. But it's got a nice little kick of sweetness on the back end. Yeah, he on his website, he puts this curry hot sauce packs a sweet pungent flavor that will elevate the flavors of your dish, particularly with seafood, root vegetables, and especially on your shepherd's pie. That would be a good one, shepherd's pie. You ever make your own shepherd's pie?
I was just going to tell you, I've never had shepherd's pie. I know what it is.
I've had it, but it was a while ago, and it wasn't super impressive. It wasn't a place where it's like, oh, we're known for our shepherd's pie. It was like, I think it was a bar that happens to have a kitchen, and it was Irish themed, so like, oh, we have shepherd's pie.
The
idea makes sense. It sounds delicious.
I love the idea of it, but I've never seen one where I'm like, man, that looks wonderful. Like I like the idea of it. I haven't seen it executed very well ever.
Yeah.
There was nothing like Courtney's parents are average cooks, not super great, not bad. Just very home cooked meals. That's about it. Nothing fancy. The one thing Courtney said since day number 1, she's like, you ever come over to my place, don't eat the shepherd's pie.
Really?
She's like, just my parents make it a lot. Don't eat it.
What's wrong with it?
It's just shepherd's pie. Like I've seen them make it. I'm like, the only like something that would make them take them from okay cooks to much better cooks.
Mm-hmm. Seasoning.
Their use of salt and pepper
is too high.
Non-existent.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Like a little bit of salt would go a long way. Dash of pepper, even though it would put Courtney's mom in a hospital bed.
Yeah.
Or so she thinks. Like a little bit of salt and pepper would take them to a much better level.
Yeah. So shepherd's pie, it says it's it's a savory dish, minced meat topped with mashed potatoes, baked. I think they normally put like peas and carrots in there too.
Yeah.
And I think in the meat, you mix like a little bit of a tomato and thyme, like you do a little tomato paste, put a little thyme in there, or rosemary. No, I think it was thyme. But like it all makes sense.
Green beans, stuff like that.
It's a casserole. I mean, it's a fancy French casserole or Irish casserole. But yeah, I think you can make it good. But yeah, you're right. You need to, especially with potatoes, that's going to absorb all that. You need salt. You need salt and pepper.
I think the thing that kind of turns me off about it is the thought of doing it all with canned stuff.
I don't think you have to do it with canned stuff.
I feel like that's how most people make it though, is canned stuff. Like if you did it with all fresh ingredients, I'd be much more on board. And I'm not against canned things. Like there's 100% a proper application for canned veggies. But if you're just going to crack 9 cans, dump it all into a thing and cover it in mashed potatoes, I'm like, go fresh.
Do you like green bean casserole?
Yeah. Just add carrots, mashed potatoes,
because that's a bit of tomato spread. Yeah. So
it is.
So like, I don't disagree with you. If it's everything's coming from a can, like that's not really, it doesn't sound like super enticing if it's all just out of a can. But I also love green bean casserole, and I know I eat way too much of it, and it's just a bunch of green beans out of a can, cream of mushroom soup, or whatever you're gonna do. And but no, I mean
it's got to have that good oniony, crispy top though.
Yeah, you got to put those on top. Without those, what are we doing? So, yeah, I think a good shepherd's pie. I might make myself some little individual shepherd's pies. Give it a try here. But yeah, this is a great sauce.
Yeah, no, I really like it. Definitely going on fish for me.
Yeah, fish is a good one. I'm going to try to make shepherd's pie. I'm going to figure out how to do that make myself a little small one because I don't think my kids will eat it. So if I make a whole tray, it's going to be all my mashed potatoes to eat. But I'll see if I can find one without as much canned stuff, and I'll make a little video. Maybe Emma wants to get more involved in the food, like the food videos. Maybe she'll let me make a shepherd's pie for one of them, and she'll try it, see what she thinks. But
I'm all for it if you can figure it out.
So my fact for this, what do you think I went with on this one?
Was it the king?
Yeah.
No, who was that?
Yeah. The High King? The High King?
Yeah. I bet you went with that.
I did. And they took a little bit of my thunder by reading the label. I didn't read the label before I did that. So that gives you a little bit of a backstory too. He was the last High King of Ireland, died during the Battle of Clontarf, which allegedly somebody said that, and I don't know if this is factual, so it's not my fun fact, that he died because the battle was on Good Friday and he refused to battle on Good Friday. So he basically got cut down in his 70s, good age. But one of the remaining items of his that has been salvaged through the years is his harp, the Brian Boru harp. Do you know that is actually the symbol of Ireland, and what is on the Guinness glass is the Brian Boru harp? You know how there's a harp on the Guinness?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is in connection to
that's the same guy's harp?
Mm-hmm.
Like they actually have his actual harp?
Yeah.
From 1,000 years ago?
So they actually have it. I believe they still have it. I thought I saw... Let me find it here.
See, that's so cool that you can find and see stuff like that in Europe. Where like you come to my hometown, you're like, that's the original brick from 1890.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, so I had a great grandparent that was born, almost died in 1890.
So yeah, the Trinity College harp, also known as Brian Boru's harp, is a medieval musical instrument on display in the Long Room at Trinity College in Dublin, Ireland. It is dated to the 14th or 15th century, along with the Queen Mary harp and the Lamont harp, as the oldest of the three surviving medieval harps from the region. The harp was used as the model for the coat of arms of Ireland and for the trademark of Guinness Stout. It looks like it was restored. It was restored after the 1830s, and then again in the 1960s.
That's cool.
So,
I like that.
So yeah,
I would have never thought, like, oh, I wonder if there's a story behind that harp.
Yeah, it. I thought that was neat. Where I'm like, honestly, for the longest time, I probably forgot that there was even a harp on the Guinness bottles because. How often I have Guinness in an actual bottle is rare. It's usually on draft somewhere. And when they mention that, I'm like, that's right, there is one. I wonder what the process was to get that trademarked for Guinness when it's like, it's on Ireland's coat of arms, and Guinness is like, we want that too. But I mean, Guinness is synonymous with Ireland, so I feel like they probably were cool about it.
I feel like Guinness beer was around before the Irish government, so... So it was the government being like, hey, I know you guys got the trademark on this, but can we borrow it as the government?
I don't know if it was around before, but it definitely helped the government through their meetings to form their government. It was like, well, let's pour some Guinness and figure this out.
That's funny.
But yeah, so that was my fact.
Nice. I went, I'd already mentioned it a little bit, but whenever I think of curry, I think of coconut curry, which is one of my favorites.
Coconut curry is the third brother of the Seth Curry family. He's a nightclub dancer.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
He works out with he dances with Mango from the SNL skits, Chris Kattan. I think that's who.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, those are great skits. That's classic 90s SNL. Anyway,
but I went with coconut curry, and looking into coconuts, we may have actually covered this before.
You are a fan of coconuts. You're the only person I've ever seen purchase a coconut in like a normal day-to-day situation and then just like crack one open and be like, I'm just gonna eat this coconut all day.
So I don't have many skills, but of the skills I do have, picking the right coconut is something that my confidence is like through the roof on. I can pick you the right coconut, and I can tell you which ones to avoid.
Which one would you feel more confident in, the right coconut or the right avocado?
It's a tie.
Okay. Those are your two.
Yeah.
If there was like, if you were...
my short list of things I'm really good at, those two are very high up there.
Your Liam Neeson skill set, you've got a utility belt, an Adam West Batman utility belt, one with a coconut on one side and an avocado on the other, and it's like, they're both ready. They're ripe right now. Anyway.
In doing my coconut research,
as you do,
one of the applications that I thought was pretty neat with coconut water, or some people refer to it as coconut milk, is it is almost identical to human blood plasma.
Okay.
It is one of the few substances that can be directly intravenously put into the human body to replace blood plasma. They used to do it a lot during World War II.
Okay.
And it apparently, I don't know if I read it could be one of those fad things, but it looked like there was some science behind it. Because of that, it's a much more efficient hydrator than just straight up water is.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's true. I like the idea of it being true. But I do know it has been used as a human blood plasma replacement. Just straight coconut through an IV into the veins, which is pretty wild. So
yeah.
Also, name a place where you picture palm trees and coconut trees.
Mexico?
Give me 3 guesses.
Hawaii?
You'll get it in 3. Hawaii. Do you know that coconuts are not native to Hawaii?
Of course they aren't. It's like people thinking Spam is from Hawaii. It's from Austin, Minnesota. Shout out Sam.
Name an animal. Name an animal in Hawaii that is like part of their culture.
The only thing I picture when I think of my one time I went to Hawaii was all the chickens running loose.
Well, not native.
Yeah.
That's not what I was saying, but go mammal.
What, like some type of pig or boar or something?
Pigs. Yeah. Not native to Hawaii. Hawaiians, not native to Hawaii.
Like, are the Hawaiian rolls even Hawaiian? What are we dealing with here?
It's so funny. Like you look at a map and you see Hawaii in the dead ass center of the Pacific Ocean. Mm-hmm. But Hawaii is just absolutely flooded with all these non-natives. It's like
ridiculous.
Did no one else have anything better to do? Like, hey, I heard about these tiny islands in the middle of nowhere. Let's just go throw all this non-native stuff on there and just have a good time and make everything really expensive.
Let's see how it goes.
It's all great. But Hawaiian people are great. Pigs are great.
They drop all that stuff on the island. They're like, trust me, this will be a destination for people when they get married. Come on to Hawaii. But yeah, I never thought about that. We just had some good facts today. I think this was a solid one. This curry hot sauce though, I agree with you though. I think fish. I don't know what fish I've got in the freezer still, but I would like to use some of it on here. I'd have to ask my parents what they use this on because they went through at least half their bottle already. So I'd have to pick their brain on what they found because they usually are pretty inventive with how they use the sauce. They don't really think like, oh, that doesn't typically go there. They're just like, oh, let's throw it on here, see what happens. So
yeah. What'd you have for a score on this one?
So for this one, I had as an 84 out of 100.
I had 74 on this one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I enjoyed this one. I like the curry flavors. I like there's a little bit of acidity from the tomato on this one. I like the lemongrass. I'm a sucker for those. As much as I wasn't a fan of ginger a couple of years ago, like ginger was not one of my favorite ingredients on things. I've been using ginger in more of my cooking, and so the ginger, the galangal, the lemongrass, those flavors I'm really started to get tied to a little bit more. So, so this one was good. But yeah, their website, Craic Sauce, CRAIC.com for their social, for their website, Craic Sauce for Instagram. Another good sauce from him. Another 2 great sauces that I'll have to post. I'll see if I can find what to use these on this Thanksgiving weekend. we did Angela's family last weekend, and that was a more Italian based meal. And so that would be a little bit more of a challenge. I would have been curious what I could have figured out with that, but for the Thanksgiving meal at my parents, it's going to be a Polish cilantro onion curry crossover fusion Thanksgiving for me. So we'll see how that goes.
It sounds wonderful.
But special thanks, as always, to Summit 6 Design for any graphic or logo design needs. They designed our logo. Also, a special thank you to Lauren from Hot Graham Sauce Company. He reached out. He has a new flavor of sauce that he was going to send, but he's one of the people that I think he sends out more sauce from other makers than anybody that I know as far as from hot sauce makers. He sent us a care package, just came in the mail today. I'm going to open it up tomorrow, but he sent us more sauce from other makers. So he's always promoting the community side of things, which is always, great to see and not surprising at all. He's, him and his wife are just great people. So special thanks to them. And then thank you again for listening. However you listen, we do appreciate you. Follow us on Instagram at the Heat Source Podcast for all updates. Send us a message on there or email us at theheatsourcepod@gmail.com for any feedback, requests, or any other comments. And then tune again next week where I'm thinking we got to try to find 2 sauces that go good with leftover Thanksgiving food. Seems like that would be the play.
To do.
Yeah, definitely have more sauces to try. So stay tuned. But we'll everyone have a happy Thanksgiving, I guess.
Yep, happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you.
Have you heard of Karma sauce? And I know Caster and Kyle's mentioned it. Because it won.
I don't think I've had it. Sounds familiar, but I haven't had it.
I think it's an East Coast one. I can't remember if I had it. I don't think it was at the Philly show. But that's one that obviously we don't need any new sauce. Lauren sent us more sauce recently. But I'd be curious to try that one. But it sounds like that one's kind of picking up steam. So it's like one that's kind of trending up. I don't think they're opening a restaurant, but I think they're like contributing sauces for a restaurant that's kind of named after the same thing. Mm-hmm. So it's called like Karma Restaurant. The crazy thing is they don't do menus. They just say you get what you deserve.
Is that a joke?
Karma sauce is real.
Okay.
Karma sauce is real. I know it's won awards.
Oh.